everyone, Jennifer here. Welcome to a new episode of Tea Time with Jennifer. Today we are going to be discussing one of my favorite topics, and that is refusing to be dumbed down. I have a special guest who's going to join me. Go ahead and make your cup of tea and let's talk about refusing to be dumbed down. Okay, today I'm drinking mint tea and it's very refreshing. Okay, a few years back I did a video on refusing to be dumbed down, and it was a very popular video and it sparked a lot of conversation among people. I even wrote an article about it for Huffington Post. And today I want to continue the conversation and delve a little bit deeper into it. I think it's something that we can't talk about enough. And I think that you all have a lot to say about this subject too, so I can't wait to hear what you have to say. The theme for today's video is refuse to be dumbed down, detoxify your mind. So we're going to get into the detoxification in just a moment. But before we begin, why do we need to refuse to be dumbed down? Why do I say that? Why do I say refuse it? Well, I think in order to refuse it, you have to acknowledge that there is a problem in our society. And once you acknowledge that problem, then you really do feel like, you either agree with that or you don't agree with it. If you agree that society is slowly being dumbed down, then you can refuse that for yourself. And you do have to take specific actions in order to get to this point. We have to detox ourselves from popular culture in order to refuse to be dumbed down. And I know that's kind of a crazy statement because we live in this world, especially with the internet age and with social media, and we all know about the most popular movies and the most popular shows and the most popular songs. And we are inundated with them on a regular basis when we go out into public or just when we open our computers. So this is something that, it's a struggle because we live in this world and we deal with all of these things, yet we have to consciously make choices in our lives to help us not become dumbed down, basically. Okay, my first tip in refusing to be dumbed down, detoxification process, is to stop watching television. I mentioned this recently in my video on efficiency, which I will link above. But I did do a video sharing how I am efficient because I am a pretty efficient person. But the reason why I'm so efficient is because I stopped watching television. That's one of the main reasons. I mentioned in that video about the New York Times article, the study that explores how many hours a day the average American adult watches TV, and it's quite shocking. And when you think about all that time that you just spend, especially if you're in the habit of binge watching shows, maybe you watch 1, 2, 3 shows a night, that's a lot of time during the day where you could be accomplishing other things, or you could be getting better sleep, or you could be enriching your mind by reading or just doing something that doesn't cause you to go on autopilot. Because remember, we're trying to refuse to be dumbed down. And when you sit down and watch television, yes, of course there are educational shows where you can learn things, but most of us are watching shows that are not educational. Competition shows, reality shows, binge watching a drama series or something like that. We just get into the habit of just turning off our minds and just letting ourselves be entertained. So my husband and I stopped watching television. We did. We stopped watching it a few years ago. I think I had one show trickling in there for a while. I think it was Downton Abbey. And then other than that, nothing. And now we just literally don't watch any TV. So what has this done for me? It has freed up so much time. I am reading so many books, which I'll talk to you more about in a second. I'm able to accomplish more. I'm able to write, create, and do things that I just was not doing as much of before. When you first decide to give up television, whether it's because you have to, because the children are keeping you up later at night, or you're tired, or you consciously make that decision to just try it because you feel like you have a problem, you go through a detox process. You go through withdrawals. You want to watch TV. You might become angry. You might become a little bit bitter. Like, I need my me time. I need my show, my time. But once you push through that, and you do have to consciously push through it because it's hard, especially if your whole adult life you're used to just sitting in front of the TV and just watching your favorite show, and that provides a comfort for you. You have to push through that and detox from it. Now you will get to the other side where I am, where I'm in a phase of my life where I just have no desire to sit down and watch television. That could change. There could be a show that comes on at some point where I decide I would like to watch it, and that's fine. And that might happen in the future, but right now in the phase that I'm in, I don't have the time, and I'm enjoying the benefits of not watching TV more than I am enjoying a show. When you do this, you look back. When you get to that point on the other side where you have detoxed from television, you look back and you realize how much time you waste watching television and just being idle and just going on autopilot. So that is the first step, is to detoxify from television. So you don't watch TV anymore. So what do you do with your time? Well, of course, reading books. Reading books is so much more important than watching television. I've been really busy with the children and everything, and I understand that you probably are too, unless you're sitting on a train for an hour for your commute. So what I've been doing lately is actually listening to audiobooks. I usually have one audiobook going, and then at night I will read, a regular book. I will actually read it before I go to sleep. But my trouble is I'm so exhausted that if I lay down and I start reading, I fall asleep basically. And I don't have large swaths of time during the day to sit down and read a book. So I'm always listening to audiobooks. I have audible.com, and I thought everybody knew about audible.com, but I've met a lot of people recently that said, oh, what's that? So audible.com is through Amazon, and it's a subscription service, and you can get credits for, books every month. And the plan I have, I think I get 5 credits per month. I'm listening to Mayflower by Nathaniel Philbrick. And this book is so good, by the way. I highly recommend it. It's not new. I think it came out in 2006. But, in homeschool, my daughters are learning about the Pilgrims and the colonists and everything. It really sparked an interest in me in relearning about that time period. So I'm listening to the Mayflower. And this book is so good. It just goes into so much detail, but it doesn't read like a history book. It reads like just a fascinating nonfiction account of what actually happened from the perspective of both the Indians and the Pilgrims. So it's just so fascinating. It got really good reviews anyway, so I really recommend that book. But that's what I'm listening to now. If I am in the kitchen or cleaning or cooking or just doing something that takes a long time, I'm listening to my audiobook or something else, which I'm about to talk about in just a second. And the next major component that I want to talk about today is detoxifying from popular music. Okay, and I know that this is always a bit controversial when I talk about this and people get upset, but I just have to speak from my experience. Now, popular music today, and I've mentioned this before, you know what I'm talking about, the main pop stars. It's just filled with these repetitive beats. The lyrics are, most of the time, they're really vulgar and crass, but they're also very simple, and they don't allow you to think, expand your mind. In essence, we're being dumbed down by listening to it. This is what I truly think. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule, and there are popular songs out there that are beautiful and well composed, and they don't have 12 producers behind the song scrubbing it and making it commercial, right? I'm not talking about those. Of course, there are artists today that are very talented and contribute to the musical world, but I am talking about, the top 40. What are people listening to on the radio station? You have to detoxify from that. You have to consciously stop listening to that music. And what do you listen to instead? Well, you know what I'm going to say here. Classical music. Force yourself in the beginning, if it's not something that you're in the habit of, to listen to classical music. Find a composer that you love. Find a beautiful piece and just listen to it over and over. This summer my song has been Adagio by Tommaso Albinoni. I just love that piece, and everyone in my family knows the song now. If my children ever hear it out somewhere, they're gonna know that is by Albinoni. But Classical music, listen to classical, or you could listen to opera, you can listen to jazz, you can listen to contemporary classical. Listen to something that's going to challenge you a bit, and and not cater to our base wanting of entertainment. Okay, I just want to read 10 benefits of listening to classical music. It decreases your blood pressure. It boosts your memory. It says, did you know that listening to Mozart can actually help improve your memory? It sparks creativity, and this is so true for me. It reduces stress levels. It supercharges your brain power. It fights depression. It puts you to sleep. It even relieves pain, it says here. And I will list that article below where I'm getting this from. But it's true. I mean, I find all of that to be true. And what I like to do is, if I have to clean the kitchen, I will put on some classical music. If I'm cooking, if I'm doing any sort of craft or creative project or cleaning around the house, I will put it on, listen to it, and it's food for your soul. That is the other component that you have to detoxify from. When you do this, again, you will look back at the pop lyrics and the pop songs that are popular that you used to like, and you might be appalled. So sometimes I take my children to their pediatrician, and they play popular music in the pediatrician's office. It's very strange. We have a new pediatrician since we moved. And some of the songs are just fine, harmless little pop songs. And some of the songs, I'm thinking, I cannot believe they're playing this in a pediatrician's office. Just the most graphic lyrics, right? So, and I think people are desensitized to that because we're listening to it every day at the grocery store, at the doctor's office, in every waiting room. We're just listening to these vulgar, crass lyrics, and it's just become a fabric of our society. And I think that because we have been desensitized to it, that proves that the dumbing down process has begun. We combat that by listening to higher level music. I have a very special guest to bring on today, someone who agrees with me on this subject, so let's bring on my very special guest. Okay, I have brought my very special guest on. You remember my husband, Ben?
Hello, thanks for having me on.
He was a big hit in the royal wedding video, so I had to bring him on again for this video.
Great to be here.
So Ben and I really feel the same way about all of this, don't we? So what do you think about refusing to be dumbed down?
Yeah, I mean, the dumbing down of society, it's definitely very prevalent today, and I can only really talk from my own experience, really, which is, how many sort of years I wasted just with my friends watching the big game, at the pub. And
yeah, sports. I didn't even touch that subject.
Definitely, a lot of it's just a waste of time, and really I could have been occupying my time a lot better, I guess, with, learning or staying physically healthy. And yeah.
I was listening to a podcast on this, and I can't remember which one it was, but about our young people. I feel like young people today are encouraged to live it up, have fun, go explore, and they rack up debt and they party and they kind of waste their most fruitful years on this.
I agree, and it's almost like when you're young, it's like you don't know that you're going to get older, and you're going to get more unhealthy, and you're going to get less smart. Really, it's like at our most sort of functional times of our lives, in my experience, I was just frittering it away, wasting my time, and thank God, hopefully it's not too late. And I certainly occupy a lot more of my time now, like you say, reading and learning, and getting outside and doing some exercise. It doesn't take much just to walk out the front door and walk around the block a couple of times. But
that's something you could do if you when you cut out television, when you cut out some of the things that you think are dumbing you down, you have all this free time. And what do you do with it? Well, you don't have to just keep working. You can exercise, like you said, which is also good for your brain. While you're exercising, you can listen to an audio book.
Or do some sort of home improvement, something that's going to add value, home improvements and
being efficient. Well, I think something that we are passionate about as parents is raising our children to be passionate about life and have hobbies, and to love learning, and not just learn during school hours, right? But even sometimes at night, you'll look at our family. What are we doing? We have the globe out, right, in the living room, and the kids, they love looking at the globe, and Ben will say, okay, where is Kazakhstan? And they have to find it. Just little things like that where you are just
making it fun, got to, just keep progressing all the time. And, I don't know, if I'm reading, I don't know why I'm learning that particular thing at that particular time.
But it might come in
a
handy.
few months later, it might be, oh yeah, I know a little bit about that, and then makes for more stimulating conversations,
yes.
I guess.
And you never know when you're learning something, when it is going to come in handy, and just to enrich your life. I mean, this is such a deep topic. Honestly, I could talk about this forever. I always think, so young people, listen to us, because, we're not that old, but we are older. We have, a family, and we've experienced a lot in life. And I feel like when you are young and you have that energy, let's say you have a passion and a drive, you want to be an entrepreneur, or you just want to learn about something, just capitalize on that. Don't just succumb to just doing what everybody else does, basically. My daughter was learning about Ben Franklin. We did a whole study on Ben Franklin. We saw a play on him. We read a book on him. That was an efficient man, let me tell you. When he was young, he started a printing press when he was a teenager, I believe. That is what we should model ourselves on, and just improving ourselves, just seeing, how we can contribute to society, how we can expand our minds. Yeah,
and all the time we're potentially wasting time. It's like the world's kicking on, economic decisions, political decisions are being made all the time. It's like I'm almost dumbed down and blinded, distracted really from what's going on in the world by all these sort of other things, and definitely if I can just lessen that and focus more on the important things, rather than the big game, then I've got more of a chance at life. Yeah,
that's right. I know. And you never watched that much sport to begin with, but you really don't watch. You watched the World Cup, didn't you?
Yeah,
hardly even that, just the England game. So thank you, thank you for joining me for today's Tea Time with
Thanks for having me on. Cheers.
I know you enjoy seeing my husband whenever he's on. So thank you for joining us today. We would love to hear from you. What do you think about this subject? Do you think that society is being dumbed down today? Is it something that you actively have to fight against? What areas in your life do you need to detox from? Are you watching too much TV, listening to really bad, crass pop music? What is it? Let us know in the comment section, and your comment could be chosen as comment of the week on the Daily Connoisseur. So thanks for joining us today, and we will see you in our next video.
Thank you.
Bye.